Hi everyone. So today we will be painting a very easy, beautiful, restful painting. I chose to do this painting just because it's very simple and a simple painting can just add, you can add a lot of meaning to a simple painting. So this is something you can do with beginners, and you can also do this with children. If you run a Sunday school, this would be a really good idea. So this is going to be our finished product, but we are going to start on a fresh canvas. Okay. So this is our fresh canvas. The best thing to do before you paint is just to have everything accessible to you. So what you'll need is a cup of water, and you will also need a large paintbrush like this, a medium-sized paintbrush, and those are actually the two paintbrushes that I used. And then the main colors you'll be using are yellow, black, orange, pink, red, and blue. And of course you can mix different colors to make certain colors if you don't have the exact color. But these colors go really, really good together. Another color that you can use is white, and you can have that just close to you. So another really good thing to have on hand is paper towel, just because when we dip our paintbrush into the water, we're going to want to dry it off a little bit. And if you go to the dollar store and you get a paint kit, this comes with it often. So if you decide to get something from the dollar store and it has a kit like this, then this is actually a useful tool. But you just have to make sure your water is like clear and good water to start with. Mine's actually a little bit muddy because I was painting a little bit already, but so we're just going to wet our canvas here. And it doesn't need to be soaking wet, just very lightly wet. And you should be able to kind of see the water building on top of the canvas as you go down. I'm just brushing water onto it like very, very lightly. And because it's a sponge, it's really nice because it really soaks up excess water, but the texture of the canvas is still like grabbing enough water. So once the canvas is a little bit wet, you're just gonna let it dry for a little bit. And at this point, I would encourage you to grab all the colors that I shared with you and just put it on your paper plate. So while it dries, you can definitely do that. And also get your paint brushes prepared. So we'll let you guys do that. And then, so once you have all your paint on your plate there, and you are wanting to begin painting, you would grab your biggest brush. And the best thing to do with a painting like this, because it's that gradual color tone, is to start with the lightest color. And the lightest color in our palette is yellow. So I'm just going to grab the yellow. And I like to put a chunk onto my, like the very tip of my brush. And that's what I use to press down and go all the way across. And then I slide it again all the way across. And I keep doing that. And again, I'm not pressing too heavily, but because I added a good amount of paint, it's really coming onto my canvas really nicely. And the water is just kind of making it very easy to slide along and spread. So because we're adding gradual colors, now that I would say that you go up the canvas maybe 2 or 3 fingers, so like this. So that's how much color you want to add for each color. So now I'm going to grab the orange These are actually really good paints, acrylic paints from Walmart, 6.97 cents. So you're gonna grab the orange now and just build up from where you left off with the yellow. So orange and yellow are very like close colors. I'd say that they're very much like cousin colors or sister colors even. But you know where the line is where you meet the yellow, you just want to brush over that very, very lightly. And because again, the canvas is still wet, you'll see it start to blend. And again, bringing it up so it meets that 3-finger rule. Honestly, there's not really any rules, stringent rules that you have to follow, but if you're following along and you want to do something a little bit different, by all means, do it. So the next colors that I'm going to be using, I'm actually going to go to the top of the canvas now and use my darkest color, which is like a dark blue. So I'm going to be dusting it on at the very, very top. And again, using that 3-finger rule. Sometimes if I get lazy and if I know I'm going to need a lot of paint, I literally put it directly on, which probably isn't the best thing to do, but I like to do that and makes me feel like the color is not washing out too much. It's like very, very bold now. So again, just like we did the other colors, you're just going to be going back and forth. And then, so now that we're done the blue, we're going to incorporate a little bit of red because adding a little bit of red actually turns it purple. And you know that nighttime sky purple, that's what we're aiming for. So make a bit of purple and then add it. If you feel like your brush is getting dry, you can always add more water, but just tap out the water so it's not too much. See, I think I added a little bit too much water, so I'll put it on my paper towel. And then I'll add some more. Again, if you're like me and you're risky, you can put it directly on. And then just keep blending. So you see that that purple is starting to come through. And it looks really nice. Okay. It would have been better if I didn't add as much water to my brush. So that is a huge tip to kind of dry out your brush a little bit. Just gonna make purple on the thing. I feel like painting is not a clean thing to do. Like don't wear clothes you care about when you're painting. I use the back of my brush to mix the colors together. And you can always just wipe it off, or if you don't care, keep it on. And then you're just gonna go with the purple again. It's probably better to have done that in the beginning, just mixed it on the paper plate, but we live and we learn, okay? So this is it for the purple. So I'm gonna completely wash my brush off as much as I can. And then I'm actually gonna be adding pink. And even though it looks like the bottom of our canvas is dry already, it's actually not. It's still a bit wet. So again, add it to the side or add it on your canvas. And then you're just going to paint. I like to blend the light one first. You're blending that pink into the orange. And then I build it towards the dark one. You can tell the colors are really nicely blending together. And voila! So this is our background. so far. Looks super pretty. So you're going to let that dry a little bit. I'd say about 5 minutes because we don't want to make this video super long. But I'll go back to our finished product. So again, this is our finished product. So far, so good. And you can choose whatever Bible verse you'd like. So I would say that at this point, when we're waiting for our canvas to dry, this is a really great time to think about what Bible verse you would like to add to your canvas. Obviously, you can do different text for your Bible verse. It doesn't have to be chunky like this. You can use a smaller brush and finally do your Bible verse on it, but this is definitely a blank area over here that I would encourage you to put a Bible verse there. You'll also notice at the back there are some birds in the sky, and then the grass and the tall cross. So yeah, I think this is a really nice painting. Just this verse that I chose is about not stressing out so much. And so if you go to your Bible and you look at this verse, you'll see what I'm talking about. Right now, since I'm recording, I can't really read it out loud for everyone, but go and search it up, Matthew 6, verses 34. It's a very life-changing verse, and I think especially with COVID time right now where stress is inevitable, it's really good to remember that God has a pace for your life and that you shouldn't stress about anything because it's in his hands, and don't worry about the things of tomorrow, you know. So it's a really good encouraging verse for that. So we've let our canvas dry a little bit. So now we're actually going to be using the medium brush. So this is one of my favorite brushes to use. I just feel like it's the perfect size. I really like this brush. So I know the bottom of our canvas is yellow, which is our brightest color, but we have to add black. So what we're going to be doing right now is the grass. So you're going to add a little bit of black to your paper plate. And yes, it's important to add the black to your paper plate. Don't freehand it like we might have done a few of the other colors. And you're not going to add too much black, but how you're going to add it is just flat on each side and then press it down on another piece or part of the paper plate, just because you don't want excess. And what you're going to do is put your brush facing down and straight, so not flat, but straight. And then you're just going to flick up. Your flicks don't have to be the same size, but essentially you're going to flick like you're tallying something, but you're wanting to get it close together, not like super far tallies, but pretty close together. And then you can continue to dip into the black and go to the very end of the canvas. So again, this is your grass. So grass and painting is very light and airy. If you wanted to use a smaller brush, you totally can, and that will probably look even nicer. But for me, and for the sake of this video not being so long, it's going to be chunky. And for the sake, if you have a Sunday school class and you just want the kids to have something fun to do for a little bit, then this is definitely a good idea. Okay. So this is our first layer of grass. And now you're actually going to draw the cross. So if you can see in the original, the cross top is right below where the blue stops, and that's what we're headed for. So we're going to grab the black, tap out like we did initially with the grass. We're going to go maybe 3 fingers in, and we will start from the very top of the blue and drag the black all the way down. So it's really important you get enough paint and you stay in one straight line as much as you can. And obviously you can tell that the line got a little fainter towards my grass, but you're just going to bring it from the bottom up now. And you can be slow and controlled. And you don't have to bring it all the way, just bring it to the part where it is thick again, just so you're filling in the sparse parts. And the bottom of your cross might look a little lumpy, as I'm sure you can tell mine is, but that's okay because we actually want the bottom to be a little bit thicker. But we'll worry about that later. We're going to go to at the end of the purple now and draw the top cross. And try your best to make it equal on each sides. Okay. So now that we've done that part, we're going to go and thicken the bottom a little bit. So more towards, imagine if this part didn't exist, it's this remaining long part underneath the shorter cross we drew. So we're just going to make it a little bit thicker by just dragging our brush down and like gradually going out. So it's just a little bit thicker, not a lot. So here we go. Okay. So now that we have our cross there, we're going to draw the birds. The best way to describe how to draw a bird is to do like a check mark, and then the shorter part of the check mark, just make it a bit longer. So for example, again, tapping out, but instead of tapping out flat, you're going to tap out just actually like straight onto the brush, if this helps. Like that instead of this. So like that. So we're going to get the black, tap out, and we're going to do our check mark. And sometimes the check mark is so thick it actually ends up looking good and you don't have to make the smaller part bigger, so that's a good thing. Another thing is that if you have more brushes on hand, you can also just use a smaller brush. So I'll just use a smaller brush, and the birds can be anywhere. So I'm drawing this one in the middle of the purple and the orange. And I would say a minimum of 3 birds is good for this painting. But if you want to add more, you can definitely do that. So perfect, our birds are there. So now to choose the Bible verse that you'd like. So I'm going to choose a different Bible verse because I already have Matthew 6:34. I'm just going to do Romans 12:12, which I actually, in fact, I don't know if you can see my tattoo here. Romans 12:12, it means be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. And I got that tattoo when I was only 18, and now I am 28. So 10 years. So we're going to draw our tattoo, sorry, not our tattoo, our Bible verse around the pink, orange, and yellow section of our painting. And I would still use the finer brush if you have it, or that medium-sized brush if you are still wanting to use that. So I'm gonna draw it here. Starting with the R. Um, and just be careful doing it just because you just take your time with it. There's no rush. Just make sure you spell it right. I'm like, you guys, should I do an S like that or should I do an S like cursive? I think I'm gonna do an S like cursive. I think it looks nice. And then 12, 12. Okay, so there we go. So another thing that if you would like is to look a bit more professional and more like a finished product, you can always go around the rim with black. And because we have time, I'm gonna just do that quickly. So I'll start with where the grass was. It just feels so good, like closing up that gap. You can see that. Like painting it black. I don't know. I've always been very artsy, so I love painting when I'm in the mood to paint. I love to paint. Making sure it's all black. Okay, so then we're gonna do that around the whole trim. Try not to get it like actually into your painting. I've seen some people actually do this with permanent marker. It's less stressful, probably be more exact. Okay. And the other side. Again, try your best to not get it into your painting too much. I'm horrible at that. No stress. Okay. And the last side. Okay. And here is our finished product. Yeah, I like it. Very happy. So if you decide to try this, I'd love to see pictures and stuff. If you want to add more, you can make the bottom part more hilly. Like this small that I made. I always feel like once I do something again, it looks much better. So, AKA try again. If you like how quick it went too, and you're just wanting to paint one day, nothing too serious, this might be a nice one as well too. So, yeah, thanks for joining. Okay.